All right. Well, we had some technical difficulties. It wasn't going straight to the Facebook, but um, seems to be up and running now. So let me get everything set up. Once again, my apologies. Let me invite our analysts. They are waiting for their code. Um, I'm going to send them that code. I know this is really working all the kinks out here. But I just sent them that code, so we're going to let them in. And we're going to get this show on the road. But welcome to the Mike Leach College Football Playoff Selection Show on this November 30th, 2025, where we reveal the field of 64. We are excited to be here on this Sunday evening, and I am excited to welcome in my analysts, those who will be helping me break everything down. That is Coach Artie Gross and Luke Gross, the man himself. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
We're good.
I apologize. There's been some technical difficulties, so we are working around that. But we're looking good now. We've got some people joining with us. If you want to chat, I think you can comment here on YouTube. If you want to comment, go ahead and do that. We are more than happy to have you all here. And before we go any further, and we'll explain everything, we'll reveal the field. I feel like since this is a college football show, we have to talk about the news that has taken all the headlines today, and that is the fact that Lane Kiffin is the head coach of the LSU Tigers. He has left, basically, just as simple as that. He has left the Ole Miss Rebels, a team that is one loss, that at Georgia has a chance to win a national championship. We did not broadcast it last year, but the Mike Leach College Football Playoff actually started last year as a personal thing. And Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss Rebels were playing the Miami Hurricanes in the national championship last year. And apparently that's not good enough for Coach Kiffin. So he decides to go to Baton Rouge, who is quite fond of the Ole Miss Rebels. And Ole Miss is quite fond of them, last time I've heard. Coach, what's your take on all the events that have happened over the last 24, 48 hours? I know this is supposed to be rivalry weekend, and I guess it still is, just not the football side of it.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to take off for your rival. Uh, Unlike yourself and a lot of people, younger people out there, I remember Lane Kiffin. I can go all the way back to the Raiders with him, and I can just tell you this is a typical Lane Kiffin kind of thing. And it's becoming typical for LSU to let's go snatch somebody else's coach. Make sure that none of them get a chance to talk to their teams or do things the right way. And they all talk about we're molding young men. We may want to take a check and see what we're molding them into. But I wouldn't have Lane Kiffin coach my team for nothing. But this is the most typical Kiffin thing I've seen.
LG?
Yeah, just I think feel bad for all the Ole Miss players who are having a best season in school history. I mean, national championship out in front of you and everything. And, Kiffin said he wanted to leave to have a better chance to win a national championship. Well, look out the windshield. I mean, it's right in front of you. You're hosting a playoff game most likely. And just a one loss that they were ahead most of the game and blew it. So, yeah, just feel bad. Hopefully they can rally around their new coach. And I would say farewell to Kiffin as well.
Yeah. Well, and Pete Golding, the defense coordinator, is now no interim. He is the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, which one shows me that he has the confidence of the locker room already. And I still think that the Rebels are going to be contenders this year for the national title, even without Lane Kiffin. And if they win, does any credit go to Lane Kiffin? Either of you?
Well, I mean, you can't deny he was a big part of what happened. So he may get a little credit. He's not going to get a ring.
Right.
He's not going to have his name's not going to be attacked. They're not going to call him a national championship coach. Ole Miss did release some video from the meeting where the new coach was introduced, and the team seemed very thrilled about it. So I don't expect that they're going to miss a beat. I mean, if they do slip up somewhere, I'm not going to attribute it to this situation. It probably would have been a situation they would have got beat anyway. I think that team's going to be even more focused now.
Yeah, I think the what this team will be remembered for if they win it is they won it despite Lane Kiffin more so. I think the storyline will be they won it without him.
Yeah, very good. Well, let's see the other 63 teams that have a chance to win that national championship, shall we? Without any further ado, let's jump in to the reveal of the 2025 Mike Leach College Football Playoff. All right. Gentlemen, let me ask you first. Can you see the screen that I've shared?
No, sir. I see you.
You see me.
I see you.
But you don't see what I've shared?
No. Give me just a second here.
Oh, there we go. I think I fixed it. Working out the kinks here.
Good.
Got it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here we go. The Mike Leach College Football Playoff. If you are unaware, the Mike Leach College Football Playoff began last year. This was a family thing with us grosses. We did it around Christmas. And it was just a fun thing to do where I said, what if I'm a big college basketball fan, if you know me, and I said, what if college football did play a 64-team tournament? Because if you know the great Mike Leach, the late Mike Leach, unfortunately, if you know him, he was very adamant when they asked him about who should win the national championship. He said, I think we should have a 64-team college football tournament. So who better to name this after than the legendary Mike Leach? So here we go. The playoff criteria. The Power 4 conferences are only allowed 1 to 12 seeds. 13 to 16 go to Group of 5 conference teams, but G5 conferences can get a 1 through 12 seed, but Power 4 teams can't get a 13 through 16. Sub 500 record. If you have a sub 500 record, you lose eligibility and are unable to get in the playoff. If there were too many teams that were sub 500 in the Power 4, then there would be room for some Group of 5 teams to steal those spots. But under no circumstances does a team with a losing record deserve to play for a national championship. Conference champions. There is no conference championship game, so the top team in each conference is the conference champion. They receive an auto bid. The top 4 teams from each Power 4 conference are separated in each of the 4 brackets. So the top 4 teams none of them are in the same. So, for example, Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss are all going to be in different brackets. Finally, this evaluation is made to reward the teams who have had the best seasons, not the teams who are the hottest. Okay, we are rewarding the season. The season still has to matter. So that is where we are. Any questions, gentlemen?
No, sir.
All right, let's look through the playoff schedule. So, the first round will start this Thursday, and we'll go December 4th through December 6th. Games will be played on campus. The second round will be Friday and Saturday of the following week, and those games will also be played on campus. Capital One Bowl Mania. That is our round of 16 this year. We did not do that last year, but this year we will do that. The Alamo, Citrus, Gator, Las Vegas, Liberty, Music City, Pop-Tarts, and ReliaQuest Bowls will all be there as the hosts of that round. And then, of course, the quarterfinals will be at the Cotton, Orange, Sugar, and Rose Bowls this year. The semifinals will be January 8th and 9th at the Peach and Fiesta Bowls, and the national championship game, January 19th, 2026, at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. So, let's quickly here. I may need to turn off our cameras for a little bit while we reveal the field. So if you want to, because I think our screens are going to get in the way of the graphics. So all right. Can you still hear me?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So there's your schedule. Let's talk about our conference champions. There were 9 conference champions this year. The ACC got Virginia. Indiana won the Big Ten. Texas Tech won the Big 12. Alabama wins the SEC. Tulane wins the American Conference. The Jacksonville State won the CUSA, stealing a bid. Western Michigan won the MAC. Boise State, in a computerama, wins the Mountain West. And James Madison wins the Sun Belt. All right. So those are our 9 conference champions. Those are the only teams at this moment that we know for a fact are in the tournament. And let's quickly break down our bracket before we go any further. So bowls are based on geographic location. We will meet in Miami, Florida for the national championship game. The semis, the left side of the bracket, will be played. The semi will be the Peach Bowl. The right side between the 2 and 3 sections there will be the Fiesta Bowl. There are how your semis will look. There is how your Capital One Bowl Mania will look. But you don't care about all that chaos. You want to see the teams. So we begin in the Rose Bowl region. The number 1 overall seed this year is the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State has been the number 1 team since defeating Texas in late August. They have only let up double-digit points in 3 games this season. Luke, this is a sore spot for you, so I'll start with you. Tell me a little about the Buckeyes this year and what you've seen from them.
They're really good. The weapons on the outside, they're hard to stop. The routes they run, they got 2 of the best receivers in the game. So that defense is underrated. They show up. I mean, they got some studs on defense too.
Yeah, like I said, only 3 games where they've allowed double digits, and 2 of those have been allowing 10 points. Defense wins championships. Coach Matt Patricia has done phenomenal this year.
Well, I mean, Matt Patricia is defense. I mean, you can go back to the days with the Patriots there. If he's running your defense, it's going to be good. There's just no doubt about that, and they've been solid all year.
All right. So they will be the number 1 overall seed. They are closest in proximity to Nashville, so they're in line if they can get there to play in the Music City Bowl in the round of 16. They are in the Rose Bowl region, and they will be playing the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. The Jacksonville State Gamecocks are in only because they won the CUSA. And in my final rankings, they would not have been in if they did not have that auto bid. So what's it mean to win your conference, Coach?
Well, I mean, you play for that from the beginning of the year. That's everybody's first goal, is to win the conference. Even those that, like an Ohio State, that expect to do it, they realize that their path is easier by winning the conference. So that's the number one goal for everybody. And, you can say what you will about Jacksonville State, but they got the job done.
That's right. This is Jacksonville State's second playoff appearance. They also made it last year. Last year, they defeated number 4 seeded South Carolina and lost to Iowa State in 3 overtimes. So they were that close to being in the round of 16. Any chance, Luke? Any chance?
I think there is until they kick the ball off.
Ohio State, this will be their 7th overall playoff appearance. They're 4th in the last 6 years. In the round of 32 last year, they got upset by Georgia Tech. So we'll see how they do this year. The 8th seed, Missouri Tigers. Missouri Tigers are 8-4 from the SEC. It's their 2nd playoff appearance. They made it last year as well, and they lost to Ole Miss, who would go to the national championship game. They lost to Ole Miss in the round of 32. They will be playing the Iowa State Cyclones from the Big 12 Conference, their 2nd overall playoff appearance, their 2nd straight, and they went all the way in a run last year to the college football playoff semifinal, and they lost to Ole Miss as well in the Cotton Bowl. So the battle of losing to Ole Miss. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, Drinkwitz got a good thing going there at Missouri. It's a hard place to win, but Iowa State, Matt Campbell, they're solid. It's a good 8-9 matchup, and obviously, I'd say that one's a toss of the coin. That's one could go either way.
Yeah, I think we'll see if Campbell can get over the hump. I mean, it's been consistent eight wins a year probably, but we'll see. Does he have what it takes to get over that hump to go from good to a real playoff contender?
Yeah. And of course, you need that win from Missouri first, but if you can get that, a win against the number 1 overall seed would not hurt his case in making that as well. Well, another coach that maybe is looking for some redemption, the number 5 seed, the Michigan Wolverines, 9-3. They represent the Big Ten Conference. This is their 5th overall appearance. And how about this? Their 5th straight appearance in the college football playoff. They did lose to UNLV last year in the round of 16, a part of the Rebels' Cinderella run. Luke, these are your boys, so I'll let you talk about them.
Yeah, young team. I'd say a 5 seed is about right where they need to be. They're probably right around that 20 range overall, I'd say. So we'll see. I mean, they got some holes, but they also got a lot of good things going. So I'd say 9-3 is about what they are this year, and go blue. We'll see.
They'll be playing the Duke Blue Devils in the first game in Ann Arbor. This is their 2nd playoff appearance, going back-to-back years. They did lose to Minnesota in the first round last year. Coach, can they get a win this year?
No, I'm going to go with the Wolverines on this. This looks like an old college basketball matchup from the 90s. Happened every year, Michigan and Duke. But Duke finished 7-5. The only non-conference game they won was against Elon, and Now you're going to send them up to the big house here in December. No, it's not happening for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well when they went up to Storrs, Connecticut earlier in the month against the Yukon Huskies. So we'll hope for better luck for them here. The Utah Utes will take the 4 seed from the Big 12 Conference. This is their first ever playoff appearance, and they will be playing the New Mexico Lobos. New Mexico also making their first overall playoff appearance. Any thoughts on that game, gentlemen?
I'm going to probably have to go with Utah on that one. New Mexico, they play solid ball, but they're going to be a little overmatched there, I'd say.
Yeah, I think maybe close for a quarter, but the longer the game goes, Utah prevails. Whittingham, they've been consistent. I mean, 8 wins, like I said, kind of about Campbell. 8-9 wins a year. Not going to make a lot of mistakes because they're well coached. So.
Absolutely. So here we go. Let's look at the bottom half of this bracket. Let's run through it here. Number 6, Kenny Dillingham's Arizona State Sun Devils lost a tough one to Arizona over rivalry week. This is their second straight playoff appearance, also their second overall. They lost to Miami in the college football playoff quarterfinal last year at the Peach Bowl. And they will be playing the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, who get in and make their first overall playoff appearance. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they, as an independent, they are 10-2. They will get the 3 seed, their 4th overall appearance, and their 3rd in the last 6 years. They lost to Arizona State in the round of 16 last year, and they will be playing the East Carolina Pirates in their 2nd overall playoff appearance, their 2nd straight from the American Conference. They lost to Penn State last year in the round of 64. They were a 16 seed. They've moved up to a 14. Gentlemen, thoughts on that quad?
Well, I'm probably going to take the Sun Devils there out of those 4. Dillingham, just he's an energetic, enthusiastic, emotional guy, and his guys get fired up to play. I don't think they have the team that they had last year, without Scadaboo, but I think they can handle Wake Forest there. And then I think they're capable of pulling one off against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think it'll be Notre Dame, Arizona State, but I think out of those 4, I think Notre Dame walks through pretty easy. They just got too many weapons. I think Jeremiah Love, Carr plays well, and I think Arizona State without Levitt, that that hurts them quite a bit. So if he was playing, I would think it would be a good game, but I think I got Notre Dame rolling through that.
All right, we're going to finish this bracket here. Georgia Tech, down to a 7 seed after that loss to the Georgia Bulldogs. This is their 2nd overall appearance. They made it to the round of 16 last year and lost to Alabama after that upset win against Ohio State last year. They will play Cincinnati in their 2nd overall playoff appearance. And Cincinnati, at that time, was the only group of 5 teams to ever make a playoff with only 4 teams. So the Bearcats are back in finally. They are now from the Big 12 Conference. Oklahoma Sooners, the Pop-Tarts Bowl will be there. The Oklahoma Sooners, coached by Brett Venables, their 5th overall playoff appearance, also their first since 2019. So their first in the 64-team era. And Ohio will be that 15 seed, their 2nd straight appearance. They lost to Iowa State last year. I'm just going to move it already down here. Gentlemen, before, just general thoughts on this bracket. This is the Rose Bowl region.
Yeah, tough bracket. I think the road runs through. I'll tell you a good game, that Notre Dame Oklahoma game in the Pop Tarts Bowl. I think that'll be a barn burner, a classic. two teams that are well coached. Again, don't make a lot of mistakes and experience with Mateer and Love. But at the end of the day, I got Ohio State winning this region. But I would be excited to watch that Notre Dame Oklahoma game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the Sooners some love here too. A couple years in, out in Norman, they were calling for Venable's head, but he's got them right where they want to be now. I think Oklahoma Georgia Tech is a good matchup there in the second round, but I believe Oklahoma can. If anybody here is going to challenge the Buckeyes, it'd be the Sooners. But it's hard to see anybody but the Buckeyes coming out of that.
They're just that good. Could Michigan get to the Music City Bowl? And could we have a rematch?
Let's see. I see a path there. Yeah, I think Duke, like Coach was saying, Duke 7-5 in Ann Arbor. I think Michigan wins that one fairly easy, and then Michigan Utah. I see that being a 3-point game, a touchdown game. I mean, touchdown or less. But I like the Wolverines on the road.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There's definitely a path for that rematch to happen, and get those two on a neutral site. Who knows?
Yeah. Salt Lake City, though, an underrated place to play. I mean, they have. I just forgot his name. Who's their coach's name?
Whittingham.
Yeah.
Whittingham. He has got that place rocking. So that would be a very interesting game. It's not like Michigan's unfamiliar with the cold. So that would go in their advantage. Let's move over to the Sugar Bowl region and see the number 2 overall seed, the Big Ten champions, the Indiana Hoosiers. The Indiana Hoosiers, led by Curt Cignetti, one of the most quotable coaches right now, and just talk about the job that he has done with these Hoosiers.
Well, anybody that can, have Indiana with a winning record a couple years in a row has done something. And so what he's done, there just almost aren't words for it. Indiana is not a football school. Now they may be becoming one. We'll have to see, but history says that's just one of those programs that doesn't win anything, and he's done great. Now some people, say that the schedule may have helped him. So far, he hasn't played Ohio State this year. He's going to have to. He didn't have to play Michigan this year, and so. But you play who's in front of you, and they have taken care of business. The Oregon that was
that's not an
that was
easy
a
game.
huge win. That was big time right there. And then
Even Iowa City,
that hard place to win, and then at Penn State as well.
Yeah.
Given that an Indiana team had never won at Happy Valley.
Wow. Yeah.
I loved Cignetti's response when asked about never having won there, and he said, "Well, this team's never played here," and it looked like that they were going to lose, and they found a way at the end. I mean, that may have been the best catch of the year the kid made in that game. So no, I think Indiana's for real, and I think Cignetti has done an amazing job.
Yeah, probably the best catch of the season. We're going to go ahead and move ahead here. In the Sugar Bowl region, they are going to get the Liberty Bowl here. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers from the CUSA, after losing to Jacksonville State yesterday, they still get in. The committee has seat enough to put them in. They lost to Indiana last year in the round of 64, so a rematch there. This is going to be interesting now because conversation has been Western Kentucky, Toledo can both get in, can only one get in if Western Kentucky loses. So we will see that as we go on. Moving ahead, the Louisville Cardinals will be the 8th seed after a big rivalry victory over Kentucky. They are making their second straight college football playoff, and they lost to Notre Dame last year, trying to redeem that. The TCU Horned Frogs, Sonny Dykes, a coach that is not often talked about but has produced a solid team year after year, making their third overall appearance and their third in the last 4 years. Of course, that national title game that they played in 2022. They almost made the round of 16 last year but lost to Penn State by 1. Luke, thoughts on this quad?
My thoughts on this squad are pretty simple. Google me, as Signetti said. That's my
Rematch
thoughts.
won't be enough for the Hilltoppers this year?
I think that the IU pretty rolls through that.
Okay. All right, let's reveal the 5 seed Washington Huskies. Washington, this is their third overall playoff appearance. They're first in the round of 64. They lost to Michigan a couple years ago in the title game, but that was only when it was 4 teams. They will play the California Golden Bears, who are making their first playoff appearance after a thrilling win against SMU last night out west in Berkeley. Number 4, anchor down, the Vanderbilt Commodores are a top 16 team, meaning they get to host through the first 2 rounds. Clark Lee, Diego Pavia. They lost to Illinois last year in the first round, but Vanderbilt's in back-to-back playoffs, and they play Dan Mullen's UNLV team. Talk a little about that quad there, Coach.
Well, we got an old Pac-12 matchup here. A couple teams very familiar with each other. Cal's, they've been really up and down a lot this year. I'll probably take Washington in that one. Man, that's a tough draw for old cousin Eddie there, as we like to refer to Dan Mullen. With love, of course, because we love cousin Eddie. But Pavia is going to get that. I see a matchup that I've been looking forward to, but it's probably coming a little sooner than I would have wanted it there in the Sweet 16 between Indiana and Vandy. And if they're going to play that in the Liberty Bowl over in Memphis, that could be a home game for Vanderbilt. Again, nothing but praise for what Signetti's done, but I can see Vanderbilt making it through that game.
Yeah, I mean, even against the crowd, if they were somehow outnumbered, we saw last night that that's not a problem for them. As they just flat out dominated in one of the toughest places to play, Neyland Stadium. So, very impressive. Let's look at the bottom half of this bracket. This is maybe one of the most exciting matchups, if not the most exciting matchup of the first round. The Pittsburgh Panthers, in their second straight appearance, get to play host to the Penn State Nittany Lions. At one point thought dead. The 6-6 Nittany Lions, after a big win over Rutgers yesterday, are in, and they're in their second straight. They're not a 1 seed this year. Put another 1 in front of that. But there's a lot of good vibes in that program right now. But the Texas Tech Red Raiders are right there as well. What a season. Big 12 champions. Just a phenomenal season. One of the best they've had in the history of their program. In fact, winning their first Big 12 championship. The only other time they were even in contention was about 20 years ago, I believe it was. And they won their division under a head coach named Mike Leach. So the Red Raiders winning the Big 12, and they will play the Boise State Broncos. Action, action, action in this quad. Luke, take it away.
Yeah, couple of good games right here. Boise State, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, they like to play spoiler, but I think Texas Tech, they're pretty high powered. They're too much for them. And that Pitt Penn State game, like you said, it's Penn State's had a few weeks since their coach left and different energy. Just at this point, just playing to go out and win. And Pitt's been up and down all year. Had high spots, low spots, but I don't know. I might take Penn State in the upset.
Yes. Their coach did leave, although it was not his choice. But he is now at Virginia Tech. But like I said, they have a lot of energy there. Illinois takes the 7th seed in this, and they will also play another exciting matchup, the Clemson Tigers. Dabo Swinney. A rough year. They were projected to be a 1 seed at the start of the year, but I guess rough years are okay when you're still fighting for a national championship. The Ole Miss Rebels, led by a new head coach, and they will be playing the Kennesaw State Owls. Coach, take this quad away.
Well, that Clemson-Illinois matchup, man, that's kind of a toss-up. Dabo, he's in a rough spot, but, he's the bring-your-own-guts guy. And, I could see them going into Champaign, pulling that off. The Owls, they're just in trouble. And they may have been in trouble anyway, but with everything that's just happened, like I said, that Ole Miss team, they're pretty fired up about their new coach. I think they're fired up to show that it was not about one guy, that it was a full team effort. So I see Ole Miss going all the way through and winning the Cheez-It Bowl. I think their motivation at this point, and they're good. I mean, their skill, but they've got the motivation. I see them coming out of that whole bracket there.
The whole thing. Do you think they beat Vanderbilt in the Sugar Bowl? Because that's predicted,
I mean,
right?
The bracket we have on the screen.
Okay, but this one now, do you have? So you have Ole Miss and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Who do you got? The matchup everybody thought was going to be in the Sugar Bowl, of course.
At that point, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay, he takes Pavia again. Any chance, quickly before we move on, any chance Clemson can beat the Rebels in Oxford if they get past Illinois?
I think there's a chance just because Dabo's on the other sideline. But
yeah.
I think it'll be Ole Miss by a touchdown.
All right. Let's move down now. We're still on the right side of the bracket here. So the winner of the Sugar Bowl will play the winner of the Orange Bowl in the Fiesta Bowl for the semifinals. Let's look at our third 1 seed. And that's the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart and his team, they are probably playing the best football they have been playing all year long. They lost that game to Alabama, which is what cost them the SEC championship to the Tide. But 1 seed, once again, that's back-to-back years. That's all you can ask for, right?
Well, they keep doing the job in Athens. Some people fuss about them, and they don't always win pretty, but they win as long as they're not playing Alabama. They tend to win.
Yeah. All right. So they will be the number 1 overall seed in the Orange Bowl region. They will get Jacksonville. They're pretty fond of Jacksonville. So they will get Jacksonville for the Gator Bowl if they can make it through. And their first game will be against the Troy Trojans. The North Texas Mean Green are the 8th seed after a phenomenal season. The Mean Green making their first playoff appearance. They would play the Houston Cougars, who are also making their first playoff appearance. So a battle in the state there. The Virginia Cavaliers will be making their first playoff appearance as the ACC champions. What a season they've had. The Northwestern Wildcats, 6-6, making their first playoff appearance. The USC Trojans, who are the 4 seed, making their first playoff appearance. And the Old Dominion Monarchs making their first playoff appearance. Gentlemen, other than Georgia, every team on your screen is making their first playoff appearance.
Well, looking at that, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna wind up with Virginia playing Georgia. I think USC out west there, they'll probably be able to handle Old Dominion, but I'm just not sold on Lincoln Riley, and I know Virginia will have to make the cross country trip, but I think they're playing a lot better. I saw I was watching a little bit of their game yesterday, and they were talking about their quarterback. I don't remember where he transferred in from, but I know he's originally a kid from Texas, and they put up a quote when he first got there, and he walked in the locker room, and he told them, we're going to win an ACC championship. I didn't come out here from Texas to win 5 or 6 games. And I just love that. That's kind of that Diego Pavia attitude, and he's brought some of that to Virginia. And they've won a lot more than 5 or 6 games this year. And like I say, I'm just not sold on Lincoln Riley. So I think the Cavaliers can go out to the Coliseum and take them down, and that's who Georgia will probably wind up facing there in the Tax Slayer Bowl.
Yeah, I like in USC Virginia. I would take whoever's the home team. In this case, it's USC. I think if USC went to Virginia, they'd get beat. I think it's a touchdown game either way. But I think Georgia's got a good grip on that quad right there.
All right, let's see the bottom half of this bracket as we're rolling along here. The Tennessee Volunteers are down to a 6 seed after that loss at home against Vanderbilt that had some fans quite emotional in the crowd. You just thought they were losing a playoff game, but nope, just at home to Vanderbilt.
You'd have thought they were losing Lane Kiffin. Wait, they already did that.
That already happened, right. All right. They will play host to the team that beat them in this playoff last year, and that's the Minnesota Golden Gophers and PJ Fleck. The Golden Gophers making their second overall appearance. They made it all the way to the quarterfinals last year and lost to Iowa State in the Sugar Bowl. It's the Gophers trying to see if they have some magic left in them. BYU, another team that's had a phenomenal season, but that loss to Texas Tech cost them the Big 12. But they still are a 3 seed where they will play the UConn Huskies, who are making their second straight appearance into this playoff as well. The final 4 teams in the Orange Bowl region will be the Tulane Green Wave at number 7. Of course, John Summerall taking that Florida job, but Tulane has had a phenomenal season. And the NC State Wolfpack, who are making their first ever appearance. They stormed back the second half of the season. They've looked really strong, and the Wolfpack looking awfully nice. And then the Alabama Crimson Tide will be playing at home for the first 2 rounds, and then we'll get to go to Tampa, and they'll be playing the Western Michigan Broncos, who are making their first playoff appearance. A quick stat before I let you guys talk about this one. This is Alabama's 10th overall playoff appearance. The college football playoff started in 2014. This is their 4th straight and their 5th in the last 6 years. 2021 was the only time in that stretch that they missed. Take it away.
Well, Tennessee there. PJ Fleck, you can never underestimate him bringing his team in, but I think up on Rocky Top they'll have it going for that game. I don't think They'll necessarily have to worry about seeing Alabama again, though. I see BYU. If the Vols have to go out to Provo, that'd probably be the end of them. And then I see Alabama probably coming out of that group.
Yeah, I like BYU Alabama as well. Tulane, they could probably play Alabama close for a half, but I think Alabama just wears them down after a half. But yeah, I like BYU Alabama.
You taking Alabama or BYU in that?
I'll take Bama.
So we've talked about this: Kirby Smart and Alabama. And yet again, if he wants to get to the semifinals, to get to the championship, he has to beat the Tide. First question, I think I know the answer. You both are taking, it looks like, Georgia, Alabama. Secondly, can Kirby get over that hump?
Well, the one time he beat them, he was playing for the national championship, and this looks like a chance to get to the Final Four. So, I'll go in. I'll take Georgia in this one.
I saw a stat they put on the game last night that Bama was 11-1 in their last 12 against Georgia. I think it goes to 12-1. I think Simpson outplays Stockton. So,
All right. Well, that leaves one in that bottom left corner. It's the Cotton Bowl region, and let's just say there will be a lot of maroon there, as the Texas A&M Aggies will be the final one seed. The Aggies did lose to Texas, but we just figured that their season has been too dominant to stop them from. They still earned that one seed. So the Aggies will be the number one seed in the Cotton Bowl region. And the Alamo Bowl being right there, they will play Hawaii, who's making their first overall playoff appearance. The SMU Mustangs come in as an 8th seed there after that loss to California yesterday. They will play South Florida, who continue to have a great year with the loss of Alex Golish to Auburn. The Bulls will be the 9th seed there. The Arizona Wildcats, 9-3. Their first appearance, they have been tough, physical, really a surprise of the Big 12 this year, but they get a 5 seed, and they will play the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who talk about an up and down season, but they do make their first playoff appearance under Matt Rule. They will get the 12 seed. And then the defending champions from last year's Mike Leach College Football Playoff, Mario Cristobal's Miami Hurricanes, they will play San Diego State, coached by Brady Hoke, making their first college football playoff appearance. I'm going to ask your opinion on this one, Luke. What do you see here?
At the top of the bracket, I think the X factor of Kyle Field is just too much for any of those three teams to get past A&M. And A&M is one of the best teams in the country, but especially the field. I think that Arizona-Nebraska game is an interesting one. I think that could be an upset brewing right there. And then Miami, I think they put it on Brady joke. And then I think you got Miami A&M sitting in the Alamo Bowl.
Coach?
I'm pretty much going to agree with what he said there. I don't think anybody there can knock A&M off in those first two games. And then, like I said, the Arizona-Nebraska one, when it popped up, that's one can definitely go either way. But then the Alamo, we get a matchup between the only two teams that beat Notre Dame this year.
All right.
And I know it's in San Antonio, but I think I might have to roll with the U on that one.
Likewise.
Yeah. All right. Bottom half of the bracket, Kirk Ferentz's Iowa Hawkeyes making their second overall appearance. Iowa City will play host to a playoff game this year, and they will be hosting the Navy Midshipmen. 9-2 this year. They looked phenomenal. They are just tough. That Military football is just something tough to stop, so that'll be interesting to see that game. The Texas Longhorns are in this region as well. They will be playing the Memphis Tigers, who started to skid at the end of the year. The James Madison Dukes, though, are the 7th seed, the Sun Belt champions. The LSU Tigers will be their opponent in Harrisonburg. And then finally, the Oregon Ducks will be the 2 seed playing the Fresno State Bulldogs. Gentlemen, your thoughts on these 8 teams here?
Yeah, I like Iowa, Texas, in Austin. I'm going to say Texas squeaks by that one. I think Iowa gives them all they can handle and more. I think Texas probably on a last-second field goal or something like that. And then James Madison, LSU, I just think with the season LSU's had, I think at James Madison, the energy of an SEC school coming in there, I think James Madison shows up and then plays Oregon in the next round. But I like Dan Lanning by a lot in this region.
Yeah, I'll have to go with that. Iowa Navy, that's a tough matchup. That's just two slobber knocking kind of programs. Even though Iowa's scored, they can score some points this year. And of course they always play good defense. But that military football, like you said, it's a different breed. Man, I mean that'd just be a heck of a game to watch. But overall, yeah, I'm Dan Lanning and his Ducks probably going to get it done there.
All right, so here is the full bracket. Any thoughts, gentlemen, before we move on to the bubble and get your thoughts on how you think this is going to turn out?
Well, I'm going to, already called Miami up there out of the top, Oregon. Once the two of those match up, interesting, Mario Cristobal going back, he's the reason Dan Lanning's in Oregon. He went to take that Miami job. I think Lanning probably, I love the U, but I think Lanning probably be able to come out on top in that one with the Ducks.
Yeah, I agree. I think Oregon, just that culture they got over there, and Dante Moore, I think Dan Lanning's Ducks got that.
All right. Now we look at the bubble. So any team that is crossed out was ineligible. There was one team that was eligible at 6-6 that did not make it in. That is the Kansas State Wildcats. They were 6-6 compared to other 6-6 teams. Their strength of record was weaker. Their strength of schedule was weaker, and they did not have any top 25 wins. And they lost a group of 5 game to Army earlier in the year. Would you have put Kansas State in over any of those 4 teams on the screen?
Probably not. Like I say, Cal's been up and down. I can't say I'm thoroughly impressed with them, but it's probably 6-1, half dozen the other between them.
Yeah, I think just that Northwestern Duke, Kansas State. I mean, I think you could rotate any of them, so I don't really see an issue with it.
And then we look at the group of 5 here. So Toledo does not get in. Jacksonville State you do not see on here because they had an automatic bid, so they were not an at-large team. But Toledo, that hurts Toledo. The Rockets, who many thought could be in the top 25 at the beginning of the year, they're out. Any thoughts there, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, when a team like Jacksonville State pulls off what they did, somebody pays the price, and it's the Rockets.
All right, quickly before we put our screens back on and we close this thing out. I'm going to show you the schedule. I'm just going to run through it real quick. There will be 4 games on Thursday, starting with Cincinnati, Georgia Tech, Navy, Iowa, East Carolina, Notre Dame on ABC, and then Wake Forest and Arizona State close the night. on Friday, and on the Mike Leach College Football Playoff page, this will all be posted, so don't worry about that. On Friday, we will start in Charlottesville, go to Athens for a one-seeded game. Vanderbilt and UNLV will play, and then Rocky Top will serve host to our nightcap there. The day will start with James Madison hosting LSU on Saturday. Miami will play host San Diego State in the afternoon. Louisville and TCU also on there. In that next slot, Oklahoma will play on TNT against Ohio, Arizona, and Nebraska. So TNT and TBS will be partnering with ESPN to broadcast these games. I'm just going to run through them again. 4 o'clock on ABC, Penn State and Pittsburgh. They get that spotlight game there. Game in Columbia at 4:30 that we've talked about. And then we start to get to the sun setting. And Tulane gets a game at home at night. SMU will get a game at home at night. 7:30 on ABC, it will be at the Big House. Austin will get a host. Champaign will get a host at night. And then, of course, our West Coast games ending. So we have a lot of football there. Before we talk about that schedule real quick, I've got one more question for you guys. It's been a crazy day. We have some new coaching hires. These are teams that are not in the college football playoff this year. I want both of you quickly. Which coach here do you believe can get them in next year?
Next year, this may be sound like the easy pick, but I think James Franklin. I mean, I can just imagine he's probably going to pull a lot of players from Penn State. Just his name alone is going to attract a lot of other people. There'll be a lot of energy there around Virginia Tech. I think he'll do good, but another one I'd keep my eye on there is Patty Fitzgerald up in East Lansing. He's just he's a tough Midwestern, knock your brains in kind of guy. That's the way he played the game, and that's the way he coached at Northwestern. So there's a couple that I would be looking at next year.
Yeah, like you were saying, I like Franklin because, I mean, it's going to be Penn State Part 2 pretty much, I think. The one name I would go with that's not Franklin would be Alex Golish. He had it going on at South Florida. And I think he fits right in at Auburn. I mean, it's not a top-tier SEC job with all the attention, but I think he slides in there and does pretty well. Quick note, I liked Pat Fitzgerald before today, so.
All right, we can go ahead and turn our screens back on. Parker White, any thoughts? Give me your grade. I see you in the comments. Give me your grade. A, B, C, D, F on the bracket. If you're still there, I'm waiting for it. So that's our bracket. That's how it looks. My wife said no love for Jim Mora. She pointed at him and said, "Why not him?"
Would she break down how Mora did at his last job, and ask her this: why did he throw a rant about the playoffs at one point in time?
No, that was his dad.
Yeah, I know that. My point was, I doubt she did. So
that's true. That's true. A plus. You're the man. Thank you for that. I do what I can. Okay, so here's what I am going to ask you as we start to wrap this up here. Of course, so what's going to happen next, to those who don't know, is these games will go through a simulation. Unfortunately, I don't run society. and these aren't actually happening. These games will go through a simulation, and you will be getting live updates as they happen on Mike Leach College Football Playoff on Facebook. So you need to follow that. That's where you will be getting your updates as they happen by the date. The final scores, the way the bracket looks, and everything. So from here on out, everything is now not in line with reality because we are now playing the playoffs. So this weekend, as far as the Mike Leach College Football Playoff is concerned, this is the first round. This is not conference championship weekend.
Well, that sounds about right because most people would argue that the great Coach Leach was hardly ever in line with reality.
That's right. Well, that's right. Thank you, Coach Leach. So we saw some of those teams. I'm going to give you guys a quick moment. We'll start with Luke, your final four, and your champion.
So Final Four, I got Ohio State versus Oregon, and then Alabama versus Indiana. I believe that's how it played out.
Ohio State versus Oregon, yeah.
And then Indiana versus Alabama. I think Dan Lanning gives one of the best pregame speeches known to man, and they go out there and knock off the Buckeyes. I think they got the culture that can do it. And then Signetti, underdog story rolls on. And so I like Indiana-Oregon national championship.
No surprise there.
And
Big Ten national championship.
Oh, you're talking Signetti, Lanning. What a week of press conferences you got there. I mean,
yeah,
two cultures.
That is true.
Two cultures.
In Miami, they don't have to worry about the cold.
Yeah. I almost think they would both prefer to play in the cold.
That's probably true.
Knowing those guys. But I like Indiana 31-28 over the Ducks in Miami.
What a historical moment that would be for Indiana to win the national championship.
Jesus comes back.
And then oh, Coach.
I think I had it the same way he did on the one side, Ohio State and Oregon. And then I believe I had Vanderbilt and Georgia.
Georgia, yes.
So I'm going to roll with the Dan Lanning into the championship game. And that's tough. I mean, everybody loves Cinderella, but I think Fabia's run will end against Georgia, and then
because he ran into a dog.
I think Uga takes a bite out of him. I think Kirby gets his number 2.
So you have a Georgia winning the national championship.
Yep.
Okay.
So
you have
Alabama.
Indiana.
They win, but they're going to.
Does the winner of Georgia, Alabama, in your eyes, win the national championship? Or does Oregon beat Alabama, or does even Vanderbilt get revenge on Alabama?
Well, that's interesting. If Vandy gets another crack, if Vandy gets another crack at Alabama, it goes one of two ways. Either they do get their revenge, or they get reminded that they're Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm. And that game will be in Glendale because that'll be at the Fiesta Bowl. And I think I know who would travel better probably. And then, does Oregon have what it takes to knock off Bama? I mean, Oregon, they
they've got what it takes to knock off. If they're going to beat Ohio State, they can beat anybody in the country. The question just becomes, do they at that point? And I'm going to say if they match up with Georgia, they don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have Indiana. Is that right, Luke?
Google me.
Indiana. Okay. It is interesting to note, real quick, that the round, all 4 1 seeds in last year's college football playoff lost in the round of 16. All 4 1 seeds lost in the round of 16. Does it happen 2 years in a row? That we don't know yet. The national championship game was played by 2 4 seeds last year, Miami and Ole Miss. So,
well, and that's a couple teams I mean, honestly, I wouldn't count those 2 teams out this year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think they're both well positioned. The beauty is, and I'm a much firmer believer in this than most people appear to be. But they play the game for a reason. People don't just sit around and talk about it and hand out trophies. They get on the field and play it for a reason. And people like Vanderbilt and Indiana have shown that when you do that and you believe, a bunch of experts out there with their safe picks don't always get it right.
He sounds like Dan Lanning.
Yeah, I like Dan Lanning. There's certain people I would go play for, and Lanning's one of them.
Yeah,
Dabo's calling.
Absolutely. Hey, and you know what? I know this would get on Luke's nerves, but both of the ones that you named, Signetti and Smart, I play for both of them too. But I was specifically, nobody can get. I know I'm an SEC guy and whatever, but nobody can get me fired up sometimes like Kirby Smart can when he gets in those moments. And I think he's undervalued. What would a number 2 mean for Coach Smart? Is he the greatest? Is he the best coach in the game right now?
Hopefully,
and if he wins, of course that may be undisputed. But if Kirby Smart, is he right now?
Is he the best coach in the game?
Mm-hmm.
No.
All time or active? Like, are we talking about career stats or okay?
At this moment.
Right at this moment. I mean, I don't know. There's still a guy over there in the corner of South Carolina that is pretty darn. I don't care what his team's record is this year. He's a pretty darn good coach. He's already got 2 of his own, and he got those
for the one in Columbus.
He got those against Nick Saban's Alabamas.
No love for the one in Columbus.
I'm going to turn that one over to Luke.
I was going to jump in and say, but I'll tell you an underrated one that we haven't mentioned.
Lane Kiffin. Parker just said Lane Kiffin, evidently.
Yeah. One we haven't mentioned all show that I think is probably at least the top 5 coach is Marcus Freeman. Yes. I think the culture he's built at Notre Dame and
he did something Brian Kelly couldn't do in years.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it was. He had a real shot at winning a national championship last year.
Since Parker's here, here's the real question. Is Josh Heupel on the sidelines this weekend when Tennessee plays Minnesota in the first round?
Depends on how much that bag from Penn State is.
Or does he travel up to Pittsburgh and just go ahead and coach Penn State?
Be interesting to see what O.P. White's got to say.
He may have left us. I don't know. But that is all interesting, all good things. You know us. If you don't, you know that we could sit here and talk till the end of time. But this was fun. This
It
was so
was.
much fun to get to just sit here and talk about football. Parker said Penn State. All right.
You to the hill.
Yes, hey, Tennessee could hire you after that.
I think they could go get Butch.
They could go get Butch. Yeah. Dan Lanning to
Oh.
Tennessee. Okay.
Nah. Nah.
All right.
I would hate that move.
It's okay. You won't have to worry about that. So, this was fun. It's going to be a fun weekend. And now we let the playoff get underway, and we will see in about 45 to 50 days who is the king of college football. Any last thoughts, gentlemen?
Hey, just Mike Leach was awesome, and if they would put this into effect, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
excited to see how it all shapes out.
Absolutely. I mean, since the era of bowl games as they were seems like it's already dead, why not just put them all in? That's my thought. Let's just have fun with it. So, and it bring a lot of money.
Well, and you're already reading stories today about players talking about transferring because they're not worried about if they're going to play in the Music City Bowl or the Liberty Bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
If they're still in pursuing a national championship, maybe it could at least push that kind of talk off another 2 or 3 weeks for most of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Thanksgiving weekend has come to a close, and we all have to go to work in the morning.
We do.
So,
Unfortunately.
we are thrilled to present this to you and continue to follow Mike Leach College Football Playoff. We hope maybe this could become a yearly thing that we do, and it's not over yet. The best part has just begun, and now we decide out of 64 teams who will be the king. Can Ohio State continue their dominant run this year? Can Kurt Signetti do the inevitable and win at Indiana? Can Kirby Smart solidify himself as the top of the league and get a second national championship? Or can someone that maybe hasn't been talked about as much, Mike Elko, find a way to get the Aggies together after everyone's counted them out after that loss to Texas? And if they can get on a run there, that would be interesting to see. And then, of course, 60 other teams that I don't have the time to talk about. But from Coach Artie Gross, Luke Gross, this is your host, Dale Gross, thanking you for watching and saying we will see you around. Let's have some fun.